Hi Magic Carpet Dyers. My friend Judith came to a hooking lesson on Thursday and she saw some of this beautiful hand spun that I had made, and there's not that much of it. I think there's only like maybe 6 ounces of it, and it's bulky weight. So she wanted to make a hat and perhaps a scarf to go with her burgundy coat, and we found this to go with it. And then we decided that we were going to over dye this thicker yarn and give a little bit of a lower note quality, because these are all sort of the same value. So I'm going to dye these colors over here that it's already been dyed, but they're light enough that I can over dye it again. So here we go. There's no water in this pan. It's only wet with synthropol from the sink. And of course with this yarn, it doesn't have a very high twist. You have to be careful that you don't felt it up. And I know this seems crazy, but here we go. It's no immersion dyeing in a way because I have no water in this pan. So here I have some red violet, and I'm going to put it over in this way in an X, and you can hear it sizzling already. That's a good sound, and you want to hear that. I'm just going to make a big X. Half of it's made of this color, red violet, and I had 30 seconds of a teaspoon in there, and then I'm going to take this turquoise and make another X. And so mashing it in. She said she wanted more turquoise, so I think I'll mix up some more. And you can see where the turquoise and the red violet are blending. Turned violet. Did I say red violet or blue violet? I meant red violet. So I'm going to mix up 2 more 30 seconds of turquoise because I really want to be impactful here in the color department. And I'm using heaping ones. I'm going to stir it quickly. And you can hear it starting to bubble and fizzle already. Whenever you're dyeing, you want to be free to make alterations and change your mind and have things on the ready, like have water boiled and have your equipment able to move quickly in a different direction. Like I have my dyes right here beside me. I have a kettle filled with boiling water, so I can change things as I go. So now I have mixed up yellow, and I am going to put this yellow in some different places. And I might find that it's too light for what I want it to do. And I'm being careful not to put it where there was violet, because I'll just cancel out the violet and make two ugly colors. Nobody wants that. So perhaps I feel that yellow's a little brightly colored, but I know my friend Judith's going to like that even more, so I'm going to mix up another bit of yellow and just really pop that yellow home. I thank you so much for joining our group, and I think we're going to be doing some great things. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be doing. So now I'm just kind of shaking this up a little bit, making sure everything's getting colored. But you'll notice I'm not cross-purposing any of my colors too much. And I think, strangely, even though my red violet is so dark, I'm going to add even more to it. Wow, that was exciting. And to make it even darker, because I think it's important that this wool be have more depth to it than the other wools that are already in that collection. Whenever you want to play with wool in this way for knitting or anything else, what you want to do is make sure that you're providing counter notes. And it may seem like it almost looks ugly together, but that's really where the magic lays, or lies. So when I'm looking at this, I can see that it's going to make a beautiful complement. Probably by now, I've used maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon of each of the dyes. So I'm almost getting to the time where I want to do a little bit of magic. So what I do is get an end of a chopstick or some such tool, and I'll get dye on it, and I'll just go in and make some dots. Especially with yarn, it's important to do this because you know, there's a lot of yarn in here. It's pretty thick, and you can see now I'm having low immersion dyeing, but the water's all just coming from the dye mixtures, not anything from anything I added, because this way you have a lot more control. You've got heat, you've got almost soon we're going to have acid. You got heat, you got dye, you got wool, and we're only missing the one thing that we need to complete this process, which is some kind of acid. Okay, it's looking pretty good to me. I think I might crazily even add a tiny bit more red violet right in here. I really want that to be deep and rich. And I'm looking over at my other yarns to make sure that I'm actually making it darker than I want it to be. Okay, back in a little bit with turquoise, and then I think I'm ready to add the acid, because I'm going to make some really dark spots so that when she's doing her knitting or crocheting or whatever she's going to do with this, she's got some real impactful turquoise going on here. Deep and rich, that's what I'm looking for. Somebody recently asked me, how can you get intense colors? And as you can see here, it's all about how much dye you add and the dyes themselves. Some dyes are not very strongly colored, and you're never going to get rich colors from them. And as you can see, I added a lot of dye. So when you add a lot of dye, you need to add a lot of citric acid. So I'm going to add about 1.5 teaspoons, and this is industrial strength citric acid. And then, my friends, I'm going to turn this down because I had it on high this whole time to a mild simmer so I don't felt up the bottom. And you could also just turn it off and cover it and walk away, and the process is all done. Thank you so much for joining us.